Welcome to your deep dive. We're diving headfirst, no holding back, into the escalating tensions we're seeing in the Middle East.
Absolutely.
You've sent us some really intense breaking news about a drone attack.
Oh, yeah.
And not just any drone attack.
Mm.
This one was near the Israeli Prime Minister's home. So let's unpack this. What happened? Who could be behind it? And what does this mean for the entire region? I mean, it's a powder keg over there.
Absolutely. And this isn't just another headline. This drone attack gives us a really fascinating, if unsettling, snapshot of just how volatile things are right now.
Yeah, I mean, a drone attack
Yeah.
feels like a major escalation.
It is.
To me, at least.
It is. To start, imagine it's early Saturday morning.
Okay.
The sun's just rising, you're having your coffee.
Right.
And a drone strikes near Netanyahu's residence in Caesarea.
Wow.
Thankfully, he was unharmed. But even so,
It's got to be unsettling.
it's a bold move. It demonstrates the reach and capabilities of groups like Hezbollah, who are increasingly willing to directly challenge Israeli security.
And we can't forget, this wasn't an isolated incident.
Yeah.
This attack came just a week after another Hezbollah drone attack that actually killed 4 Israeli soldiers.
Exactly.
So for those who might not know, can you give us a little background on Hezbollah? Like, who are they? What are they all about?
Sure. Hezbollah, which translates to Party of God, is a Shiite Islamist political party and militant group based in Lebanon. And they're heavily backed by Iran, both financially and militarily, and they've been a thorn in Israel's side for decades. Their goals are complex, but they ultimately see themselves as resisting Israeli influence in the region.
So they're a pretty big deal.
Oh, absolutely.
And their tactics seem to be growing bolder. Which brings us to Netanyahu's response. Talk about Defiant. He basically said, bring it on, we will not back down.
Yeah.
Strong words.
He's in a tough spot. On the one hand, he needs to project strength
Sure.
to a nation that is constantly on edge. But on the other hand, this kind of rhetoric, it can easily escalate tensions further in a region that's already a tinderbox.
For sure. For sure. So it's interesting. Hezbollah hasn't officially taken credit for this drone attack near Netanyahu's home.
Okay.
But they did claim responsibility for separate rocket attacks that happened on the very same day.
Interesting.
What's the connection there? Is this all part of some kind of strategy?
It likely is.
Yeah.
Imagine it as applying pressure on multiple fronts.
Okay.
This coordinated action could be a way to overwhelm Israeli defenses and create a sense of constant threat, keeping them off balance. And remember, the region has been on edge, especially since the Hamas attack last year.
You're talking about the Hamas attack back in October, right?
Yeah.
Where over 1,000 Israelis were killed.
Exactly. That attack, it really shook things up. And speaking of Hamas, it's impossible to ignore that Israel announced they had killed Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar just days before this latest drone incident.
Okay, so now things are really getting interesting. This wasn't just some, random Hamas official, right?
No, not at all. Sinwar was a key figure in Hamas. He was the mastermind behind that October attack we just talked about. His death is a major blow to the organization.
But it clearly didn't stop the violence. We've got this drone attack, the rocket attacks. If anything, it seems like things have escalated.
That's the big question, isn't it? It makes you think. Does taking out a leader like Sinwar actually create more chaos? Does it lead to power vacuums, splinter groups, even more radical individuals taking over?
It feels like we're stuck in this endless cycle of attack and retaliation. Is there any way to break it?
That's the million-dollar question, and unfortunately, there's no easy answer. But understanding the motivations and strategies of all sides, Hezbollah, Hamas, Israel, and even the international players involved is absolutely crucial if we ever hope to find a path to peace.
Yeah. This deep dive started with just a couple of news stories, but it's revealed a much bigger, far more complicated picture. It really makes you think. What other factors are at play here that we haven't even considered?
Absolutely. And it reminds us that what might seem like isolated events, a drone strike here, a rocket attack there, are often connected to a much larger, much deeper web of historical and geopolitical forces that have been simmering for decades.
Definitely something to keep in mind as we continue to follow this developing situation.